Hi, welcome to a podcast about. I am your host, Kath. I need to move some things. Hold on. Oh my god. I am your host, Kath. This is my 456th try on making this podcast, and it's it's gotten to the point where I'm just 5 minutes. I just need 5 minutes where I can make this podcast and be done with it, right? I want to start with my introduction. I want to start, and I have tried so many times. I just don't get the time. I work, so I have 8-hour shifts. I go to my workplace at 8 in the morning. Nowadays it's I have to go there by 9 and I get home by 2, so that's 5 hours. But usually if it's not Ramadan, then I go by 7 and I come home by 2, which is 5, 6, 7, about 7-8 hours, right? And I'm exhausted right after that. I don't have the energy to do anything besides just sleep, wake up, maybe get some food, and then sleep again, because I'm positively exhausted. And you might be wondering, why are you so exhausted after your work? I work with kids, and I work with not older kids, right? I don't work with kids who are above the age of 8. I work with kids who are 2 to 6, 7. I'm not sure what the oldest per kid in our group is. And the 2-year-olds, they run. There's this one 5-year-old who runs, and you have to keep up with them the entire day, and that is exhausting. And that is probably the most work I've done in my entire life, keeping up after kids who have been given this energy reserve that I was not provided when I was that age, and now they just need to expend it every second of the day. They're with me. Every time I look at them, they're I want to cause mischief. I'm going to cause mischief. I'm going to give this person misery, and I'm going to make them feel horrible for the next 8 hours of the day. It's fine. They're kids. They'll grow up and they'll be just like me, out of energy. And I hope they get an amazing job working with kids who need to expend energy every second of the day whenever they look at them. It's like a cycle, right? Anyways, sorry for the rant. Hi, my name's Kath. That's what I go by online. I'm 18, and this year I'm going to be starting university. I'm very nervous. I'm pretty nervous about it because I don't know, it's just, I haven't, I've been out of school for a year at this point. I think May of this year, next month, will quite literally be it'll mark a year of me not studying, and that's really, really, when I put it into perspective, I realized, oh my god, I haven't studied for an entire year. That is crazy. I cannot believe that I have been out of school for a year. But because of COVID, I wasn't in campus anyways. So this March officially marked 2 years of me not being in campus. So in very technical terms, I haven't gone to a real school system in 2 years. And that terrifies me, right? And I'm my biggest worry is because I'm doing medicine, I'm what if I fail? What if nothing goes right? What if I can't keep up with it? That's going to be the worst thing possible, right? But I've decided I'm trying, at least, because I feel I'm a very cynical person, not negative in everything. I'm just very cynical because when I look at an opportunity, when I look at something happening, I look at it in not just a positive way, oh my god, this is going to be perfect, everything's going to go fine. Because I'm if I do that and if I fail miserably, I might get pulled into this depression where I can't get out of it because of the fact that I didn't prepare myself for failing, right? Every time I start something, I'm this could fail. And I always lean towards that side because, in the possibility of it failing, I'd be I expected that. But if I don't fail, if I succeed, I'm oh my god, that's so great. And, the feel-good thing kind of is amplified, right? Anyways, let's start with introductions. See, I tried writing down some stuff, right? But I didn't know what exactly to write down and be oh, let's start with this or that, because I'm not good with writing things down that come into my mind. So I decided with a few things. Let's start with Again. Oh my god. I was recording, like, hold on. I was recording, and then my mom started walking right next to my room, and it was so loud I couldn't talk. Right? Every time I try to record, it's like it's an ongoing battle with every single sound I ever hear. I don't know if you can hear it, but I hear it, and it's so annoying. Anyways, I decided to start my introduction with like my name and what I'm going to be doing in the next 6 months, and I've technically done that. Let's do some other stuff. What I like. Okay. So I love reading. I am a huge obsessive reader. If I start a book, I have to finish it within the same day. I think nowadays I don't do that anymore. I like if a book gets too depressing or too extreme for me, I'm like, maybe I need a break. But usually I remember this one time in school, it was this book by Khalid Hosseini. It's called The Kite Runner. I finished it during the course of one school day, and I was like done by the last period of class, and I was like so traumatized. I was unable to comprehend what I had just read, and I was like, oh my god, what did I just read? That was absolutely it was like the first serious book I read. So I think that kind of affected me a lot, but I was shocked with what I had read. Anyways, I love reading. I absolutely enjoy reading. And 2 years ago in 2020, when the lockdown first happened, I decided it'd be a great idea if I read like about 20-ish books during the course of the year. It was still like the first quarter of the year, so I was like, I can probably do it. But like I read 24, 25 books that year. And last year and this year combined, mostly last year, I read another 25 books. So I've read 50 books in the past 2 years. And they weren't like, just random books from everywhere. It was like this very comprehensive list of things I wanted to read since like 8th grade, but I couldn't because I couldn't buy the books. I got, oh my god, this is so embarrassing, but I read them all on my phone because I didn't get my iPad until like October of last year. And when I did get it, I just read like, I think the Crazy Asians trilogy on it. It was like 3 books, and I'm reading like a couple of other books now. But I read all of these books on my, my phone. And I am not lying when I say that I don't know how I did it. Because I think it's because the iPad spoiled me. I'm honest. Reading on the iPad is like a luxury. I don't know if like everyone's into like unconventional reading ways, but like reading on the iPad is like a first class ticket to just, it's amazing. I can't even explain how good it is. But I tried reading on my phone after like reading on the iPad, and I was like, this sucks. I hate it. I don't know how I did it, but I never want to do it again. And then I didn't do it again because it was really annoying. But reading's like one of my favorite things to do. Writing poetry is one of the other things I do, and I think it's very cliche teenager of me to like read books and write poetry. Not read books, I think, just write poetry in general. But I went through a time where I was like very mentally, I think, upset, and I was like, oh my god, I'm gonna turn my pain into poetry. I've told people that I write poetry, and they've asked me like, hey, can I read it? I was like, no. The stuff I've written, if you read it, you're gonna be like, this person is truly unhinged. This person has no idea what is happening in their life, and I don't want you to see that part of me. But yeah, it's very, 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 most of my poetry from like, I'd say October, because I would number the days, the time I wrote it, so I know when exactly I wrote it. It was like October and December and January and February, and it was like very, very dark and broody, and like, oh my god, I'm so sad and I hate everything. It was so embarrassing. I can't even explain how embarrassing that was. So I had to take a break because my friends got home and they were being really loud. So let's start with some other stuff. All right. So I'm really, really interested in collecting vintage video game consoles, vintage cameras, vintage cars, and I'm like, I'm hoping in the next few years I can start with like collecting one of these things, because it's been like a dream of mine. I look at vintage cameras or like vintage video consoles and I go crazy, right? I have like this old Xbox 360. It's not old, right? It was the Xbox 360E. So it's like the newest, oldest Xbox 360. And I take such good care of it, not because, like, what was I gonna say? Not because, oh, it's like one of my, okay, I don't want to collect vintage things so I can show them off. I want to collect vintage stuff so I can use it. If I get a Nintendo 64, I want to use it to play Mario 64 or Mario Kart 64. Unfortunately, I feel like the market for like Nintendo 64 and GameCubes and like old PS1s and 2s, they've like capitalized so horribly on the market that like by the time I'll be able to get any of these things, they'll be so expensive that I'll be like unable to get anything. But besides that, I feel like the other thing that I absolutely love nowadays is like necklaces and earrings. I cannot explain how much I am obsessed currently with necklaces and earrings and all of these things, right? And it's not because, it's like a normal thing, but like, specific pieces. Like, have you seen, I don't know if everyone's seen it, but the diamond, it was the specific diamond. I don't remember its name anymore. But there's this gorgeous diamond necklace that only a few people in Hollywood have worn. I don't know if it's like a Tiffany's one or if it's something else. But Beyonce, Audrey Hepburn are like two people that have worn it. I saw an exact dupe of it on this one jewelry shop that I always frequent. And my mom did let me buy it. But when I saw that necklace, I was like, I saw it multiple times, by the way, in different shops. I was like, this is my sign for collecting, jewelry that looks just like one-of-a-kind jewelry from somewhere else, right? Because it was so gorgeous. I cannot explain to you. I looked at it and I was like, I need to have this right now, but my mom didn't let me get it. I have also, I think I should mention it at this point, I have this kind of lisp. I don't know if it's a lisp or if it's because my wisdom teeth are growing in. Sometimes I say things and it just doesn't sound right. So if you get annoyed by that, I'm very sorry. So one of my goals for this year is, because I'm starting uni, I want to be more extroverted. When I was like younger, I was extroverted, but then I got bullied immensely. So I kind of retreated back into my shell, but I want to like go out, do more stuff, right? And I want to develop like a sense of style. I don't want to develop a style that like mirrors everything you see on the internet, right? Because you see so many things on the internet. I think at this point I want to curate my own style using all of those things. Currently I'm like really obsessed with like Y2K, or I guess Y2K based clothing, but like makeup wise, I want to do some weird wacky stuff on my face. I want to do different. I want to look different, right? I always had naturally thick eyebrows, but now I've like thinned them out because I want to get like thin eyebrows and like really the makeup looks I want to go for are like huge and like what do you call them? Like extra. I think the best way to describe it is extra. But the thing is, for Y2K clothing, I don't know where to go. So I think my next podcast episode is probably going to be about clothing and necklaces and all of that. Maybe not. I'm not really sure. So yeah. That was that. Okay. I am severely into traveling. I want to travel so bad, right? Most of my childhood, we traveled a lot. We traveled like everywhere. I live in the Middle East, right? So the country I live in, I don't know if I should say what country I live in. Basically, what I need to say is the country I lived in, we moved a lot throughout that country. And the thing is, I'm not from the Middle East. I'm from South Asia. The funny thing is, the country I live in, my home country, I've only been to 3 cities in my own home country, and I've been to like 10 plus cities in the country that I live in right now. But you know what? This just makes it so much more harder. I live in Saudi. I've gone to so many places in Saudi. I've gone to more places in Saudi than I've gone into Pakistan. I live in Pakistan. I'm from Pakistan originally as well. So I want to travel more. I want to go to like more of the Middle East. I want to travel more of South Asia. I want to go to East Asia. Okay, so when I was younger, I really, really, really wanted to go to the US, but I'm just kind of iffy on that. I would also, though, love to go to the UK, and I might this year, so that would be fun. I was thinking if I should do this podcast in, like, video form, but the thing is, for the video form, I have to get ready, and I don't want to get ready right now, so I'm just, like, I'm doing it in audio form. But if I don't know, if this podcast does well and if I have the energy, I might just do a video form podcast and then just kind of, yeah, I think I might do that. Anyways, what else could I possibly talk about? I am also into collecting old video games in general, like PC games. So I have a small collection right now, but I'm hoping to make it bigger. For now, I have like some old Halo games, like one GTA game, the first 3D game, which was GTA 3. I want to get The Sims 3. I'm in the process of finding old games that I can get. If you know any websites at all, commenting or message, if you're my friend and I made you listen to this podcast, if you know any sites for old video games, because I know a few and they've kind of worked and then sometimes they don't work, I would love it if you could tell me. For honestly anything. Okay, also another thing that I really want to get into is getting old vintage makeup, like generally makeup, and then like makeup holders and accessories and bags, because I've seen people do it on TikTok and it looks so much fun. And it's so cool, and I just want, okay, that if I get that, I'm gonna show it off, right? I desperately want to get some old vintage makeup stuff, which I can just like put in a cabinet and show off, because I think that would be so cool. Besides that, personality-wise, I think personality-wise, I don't have a defined personality. I think I'm a people pleaser, first and foremost, and I need to get rid of that because it genuinely hurts me sometimes. But I like catering to other people. I like making friends, but I don't understand how to make friends. I don't understand tone. That's like a thing that I realized this year. I do not understand tone. And because of that, sometimes I will lose friends because I just don't understand the situation that I am in right now, right? That's a thing. I absolutely hate it when people are like overconfident. There's like, okay, you can be confident, and being confident is like, be nice to somebody, set your own boundaries, but like be nice to them when you're talking, right? And then the overconfidence is like nitpicking every small thing this person says, which is just so annoying to me, right? I've had friends who do it and I was like, I don't like that. And then like pushing boundaries, people who push boundaries, it's so annoying. I dislike people who push your boundaries. It makes me feel so uncomfortable. I dislike it immensely. If you are a person who pushes boundaries, never ever expect me to be friends with you, because I've already had so much of that. Oh my god, I can make story times out of that. Anyways, okay. I'm gonna talk about some of my likes and dislikes. I absolutely love people who like, hold on, I have to put my foot down. Ow. Okay, I have to put my foot down. I've done my likes, actually. Let's do my dislikes. I dislike fast fashion because if I get into something, my thing has always been, if I get into something, it's because I genuinely like it and I want to do it for long term and not just for like 2-3 months, or maybe like, oh, I got this shirt that I'm only gonna try for 1-2 days, because I did it once when I was 15 and then like I immensely regret it. up until now, because I got this one shirt because I had seen so many TikTokers wear it. It was I got this shirt and it was so scratchy, it was so stiff, and it was so annoying. And I was like, I shouldn't have gotten this. I should have never gotten this shirt. And I put that shirt away. It's still in my cupboard, and every time I look at it, I'm like so guilty. I was like, I shouldn't have gotten it. I was a direct participant in fast fashion, and I shall never do that again. I think I also dislike when, okay, so this is something that I can just rant for like hours. I absolutely hate it when people hate on something just because it's fun to hate on it, because I've been through the experience of doing that, and then, having my favorite thing be hate on. I was like, I don't understand the gripe with, hating something. And especially if it's a person, and if it's a young person, and there's just one person, like particular person in my mind, but I don't think I should like mention it, because if I mention it right now, I'm gonna get off on a tangent, and I don't want to do that. But I dislike it when people, because of the fear of missing out, they're gonna do something, whether it be following fast fashion or hating something or liking something, right? It's like very, when I was younger, I used to have this thing where I would believe anybody's opinion because they had articulated it so well, and for the fear of being wrong, I wouldn't like think about it myself. But when I grew up, like as I was growing older, like when I turned 14 or 15 or 16, I was like, that doesn't really make sense, because if I have an issue with something, I should find it out through that. I shouldn't agree with somebody else's belief and then take that belief and run with it, right? So again, I'm not pushing this onto someone. If you dislike something just because everyone else dislikes it, you do you. I can't tell you what to do. But I just personally dislike it severely when, this one specific thing. Obviously, if this thing everyone's completely bashing, this thing, if you're bashing it because it's ethically or whatever wrong, I don't know, I sound so pretentious right now, but like, just don't dislike something if it's harmless and you're just disliking it because everyone else dislikes it. It makes me feel weird, because if it happened to the same person, I don't think they'd completely enjoy it. I just don't like that. But it's weird saying that I don't like that when it's the same thing. Okay, whatever. Whatever. That was a nice loophole that I put myself into. I dislike... What else do I dislike? I dislike how people have no sentimentalism for, like, the things they own anymore. Because, you can choose to throw things all you want, but okay, so I have this problem. If I have had something for a really long time, I feel absolutely destroyed if I have to throw it. I feel like I've lost a limb, I've lost a loved one. I have cried over my mom throwing one of my dolls. I was like, it's fine, I can keep it. There's no issue in keeping this goddamn doll. Why are you throwing it? And she's like, it's because at this point, this doll is basically fraying into parts. It is going to atomize out of existence. But I think I've always done that with my 360. I remember like a few years ago, there was this offer on this bookstore where you could like give in your 360 and get like the new Xbox, the Xbox One. And I was like, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that because I have so many good memories with this 360, right? And like, I do the same with like old laptops and old phones. I'm like, I'm not ready to part with this. Okay, I have this very soft spot for my iPhone 6, and it's not because like, I don't know. It's not because I can't explain it. I think it's because it was my first ever phone that was an iPhone. It was like my first ever proper phone actually, and it was one of my favorite phones, and I had my eyes on it for so goddamn long, and I was like, now I think of it and I'm like, I'm not ready to let go of that because it's such it holds so much. I hold it in such regard. I hold it in so much love and affection, even though it's basically breaking. I don't want to let it go. I'm going to be 70 and that iPhone is going to be broken into half, and I'll be like, I am not letting it go because I love it so much. I have this very horrible attachment to everything. I think that might be a dislike in myself, but like, I just dislike how people discard things. that might mean so much to them when they grow up, you know. Even if you're like 50, maybe 10 years later, you'll be like, maybe I shouldn't have thrown away that chair because it was the first chair I ever sat on without needing a hip replacement. I don't that was a dumb joke, but yeah, something like that, right? Anyways, besides that, I don't really know. Okay. Let's talk about this podcast. I think that would make more sense. I wanted to start a podcast because I just need, it's like an audio diary for me. I want to put all my thoughts into it and then just kind of send it off to the world so everyone can marvel at how amazing I sound and how awesome I am. I'm really bad at speaking. I'm going to be honest. I absolutely am horrible at speaking. And I feel like because of that, it's like, oh my God. See, it's like, I want to talk about so much, but I can't talk about so much because I don't know how to put it into words, and I don't have people to talk about stuff with most times, and I just want to put that out to, on this place where, everyone can listen to it, and I can listen to it, and be like, oh my God, I am like the coolest person on this world. I feel like that's the only reason I want to make this podcast. And also because God, this is so embarrassing. I was really inspired by Emma Chamberlain. And this is ironic because at one point in my life, I used to hate Emma Chamberlain because everyone used to compare me with her. And I was like, I do not sound like Emma Chamberlain. I am not Emma Chamberlain. And I'm like, maybe I am. And maybe, that's like the coolest thing that would ever be said to me. And she has this podcast. And I used to be so envious of her maybe I shouldn't say envious. I used to wish I had like a platform like her. Like she had this YouTube channel and everything was going so great for her. And I was like, if I had that and I had like the money that comes with it, I could be so happy and I wouldn't be depressed about how I feel anymore. And I could be, I think it was very much I shouldn't say that. That would just make me sound like a fucking loser. But I always wanted a platform where it wasn't a platform. It was people seeing this and, being like, cool. That's pretty cool. But like, I just wanted that, right? But I disliked her back then for some reason. Because again, I was into that fear of missing out, hating on someone tour of mine. But then I grew up and like this year I got really into Emma's podcast and I was like, oh my God, that sounds really fun. And like the stuff she talks about is like the stuff that goes through my head, and I was like, if I can do that, I think it would help me and it would be fun to put out on the internet because it's a fun thing. But the thing is, since podcasts are so long, I'm just not into editing so much of audio, right? I don't want to do that. But I you know what? I'm going to do it. That's the reason why I made this podcast. So, I think I should end this now before I literally go off the rails and ramble to infinity. But thank you so much for listening. If you're here right now, I am surprised because I'm going to listen back to this and I'm going to be like, that was unhinged. Where did all of that come from? None of that makes sense. Why did I put all of those things together? But anyways, thank you so much for listening. And thank you so much for staying around. And I hope you enjoyed it. And if you're one of my friends, please DM me and tell me if this was nice. If it wasn't, please tell me it wasn't. If you're here on my YouTube, please leave a like or leave a comment or subscribe. This is so cringy. And if you're on Spotify, leave a like. And just I don't know, tell me how it is, tell me how the podcast is on one of my Instagram accounts, whichever one that you find. And yeah, I'm gonna talk again for an hour, maybe next week. All right, I think that's it. Goodbye.